Evans had always dreamt of marrying a good wife, someone who could cook well, be homely and have a sweet heart. He wasn't looking for anything fancy, just a loving woman to build a family with. His friends often teased him for being so old-fashioned, but Evans didn't mind. He knew what he wanted. One day, while scrolling down an online singles forum, Evans stumbled upon a profile of a lady named Ada. She looked simple and her posts were filled with modest words. She talked about the importance of family and described herself as a good cook. She said she loved to take care of her home and promised to be a good wife to any man who would have her. Evans was interested. Ada's words were like a dream come true. They started chatting privately. She said she wasn't exposed to the city life, that she preferred staying indoors and reading, and that she didn't wear makeup because she believed in her natural beauty. Evans thought he had found the perfect match. Over time, they talked about many things, and Ada never showed any sign of being flashy. She came off as the modest girl Evans has always dreamt of. They had never met face to face until Evans decided to visit Ada in her hometown. There, she acted exactly as she has described herself. She even cooked him a delicious pot of jollof rice, which she said was her favorite meal. This woman is exactly what I ordered, Evans thought. He didn't know that what he saw was far from the truth. He didn't waste time before proposing to her. The wedding was simple, just as Evans had planned. But barely a month into their marriage, things started to change. Evans noticed that was slowly transforming. At first, she began using small amounts of makeup. Then she started buying more stylish clothes and wigs. She began calling herself AD Baby on social media. Evans was confused but thought maybe it was only a phase. One evening, Evans came home to find Ada dressed in a tight shiny dress, her face heavy with makeup and her hair styled in a big fashion way. She looked like a completely different person. "Who are you going to visit?" Evans asked, trying not to sound upset. "I am not going anywhere. This is just me now," Ada said, flipping her hair. "You don't want me to look like an old woman, do you?" Evans shook his head and went to bed, hoping things would settle down, but it got worse. Ada stopped cooking entirely, saying she was too busy with her brand. She would order food from expensive restaurants and spend hours on social media posting pictures of herself with the caption "AD Baby, living my best life." Evans came home one evening to see take-out buses littered everywhere. He asked her gently, "Ada, can't you cook for us anymore?" "Who has time for all that stress?" Ada replied with a shrug. "Order food like the rest of the world. We are not in a stone age." Evans felt like he was living with a stranger. She was no longer the modest, homely woman he had fallen for. She refused to do any house chores and would laugh whenever Evans tried to talk to her about it. "Why should I clean the house when we can just hire someone to do it?" Ada asked. Evans tried to remind her of the promises she made when they were chatting. He told her that all he wanted was a simple life, a wife who was homely and respectful. But Ada would roll her eyes and walk away, saying you should have married your grandmother then. One day, Evans' friends called him and said, "My guy, I saw your wife at a party last night. I didn't know she was your wife until she mentioned your name. What's going on now?" Evans was embarrassed but didn't know what to do. Ada had become a different person. She would go out with friends without telling him, dress in tight clothes, even wear heavy makeup. She spent money recklessly and demanded more whenever Evans tried to save. She even became rude, talking back at Evans whenever he tried to correct her. "If you want a boring wife, go and find someone," she once said, waving him off. Evans was at his breaking point. He had stopped talking to most of his friends because he was too ashamed to admit that his wife was not what he had thought. One evening, while he was scrolling through his messages, he saw a chat from Kate, his ex-girlfriend. Kate had left for the UK 2 years ago to further her studies. They broke up when the long-distance relationship became too much to handle. Kate had returned to Nigeria and wanted to check up on him. They arranged to meet for lunch. Kate was still the same, a gentle, soft-spoken and simple lady. She didn't dress in the flashy clothes or wear heavy makeup. She was down to earth and genuinely interested in knowing how Evans was doing. "Are you happy, Evans?" she asked during their lunch. Evans felt a tears welling up in his eyes. He shook his head, unable to say anything. Kate reached out and held his hand. "I'm here for you if you need someone to talk to," she said. That evening, Evans came home late. After spending hours with Kate, he walked into the house and found Ada in her usual position, lounging on the couch, strolling through her phone. "You are late," Ada said without looking up. "I've been thinking," Evans said, his voice trembling. "This isn't what I wanted. You are not the woman I married." Ada looked up at him and laughed. "People changed, Evans. You just have to adjust," she said. Evans had had enough. He packed a small bag and left the house that night. He went to stay with a friend while he figured things out. Over the next few days, Evans spent more time with Kate. They reconnected and old feelings came back rushing. It didn't take long before they both realized they still loved each other. Evans explained everything about his marriage to Kate, who felt sorry for him but advised him to make things right in his life first. When Ada realized Evans has moved out, she was furious. She called him and demanded he came back, saying she was his wife and she had rights. But Evans didn't respond. Ada began to panic when she heard rumors that Evans was seen with another woman. Ada rushed to Evans' friend's house and begged him to return, promising to change and be the modest woman he wanted. But it was too late. Kate was already with a child. Evans has moved on emotionally. When Evans eventually went back to the house, it was to collect his things. Ada tried to apologize and cry, but Evans shook his head. "I gave you a chance to be who you promised to be," he said quietly, "but you chose to be someone else." In the end, Ada was left alone in the empty house. Her flashy clothes, makeup, social media posts couldn't save her. Evans has found what he truly wanted in Kate, a simple, loving woman who cared for him. Evans and Kate later got married and Kate gave birth to a baby boy. Evans finally felt at peace. Ada, or AD baby as she called herself, was left regretting her choices, realizing too late that what she had been pretending to be was exactly what Evans wanted all along. Evans' journey taught him a tough lesson. Sometimes what you order isn't what you get. He had to go through the pain of discovering the truth about Ada, but in the end, he found happiness where he least expected it. Moral: pretending to be someone you are not may win you what you want, but it won't keep it. True happiness and relationship are built on honesty and not deception. Being genuine and true to oneself is crucial, as pretending only leads to disappointment for both parties. True love and respect come from being honest about who you are from the beginning. Thanks for watching.